Thank you so much for inviting me to your conference and for having me play this part in your UK Unity section. And my compliments to you and to all your colleagues who've worked to make this happen today. I'm sure you're having a great conference down there. Now, who are we and what is our organization? My organization, A Force for Good, is a pro UK campaign group and think tank, and we're based in Glasgow. We've been going since 2012, and we work to maintain and promote the United Kingdom as a unitary state and as one nation, and as a good thing in itself. That is to say, a force for good for its inhabitants and ideally for the rest of the world. And we do that through a combination of physical activism and online and hard copy publications, all of which help to communicate our philosophy and policy, which all helps to move things forward in our pro UK attitude. So we regard ourselves as an essential antidote to the Scottish nationalist dominated media in Scotland, which too often seems subservient to the Scottish nationalist position. Now, my apologies that I cannot make it down from Glasgow to be with you all today. However, myself and my colleagues at A Force for Good are going to be and are in the heat of the action today. We're taking our pro UK message to the centre of Dundee, where the SNP is having a convention on independence. It's the first major SNP conference to be addressed by the new First Minister, Humza Yousaf, and they're holding it at the Caird Hall. So we have rocked up outside the front door of the Caird Hall, and we've set up our street stall, and we've got our flags and our materials and our megaphone, and we are going to be educating the Scottish National Party members who are going into the Caird Hall about the value of our United Kingdom, about the value of our social solidarity, and about the value of our economic pooling and sharing of resources throughout the British Isles. And they'll be trying to figure out ways to break up the UK, but we're outside today educating them about the importance of us all staying together and indeed fighting the multi-headed hydra, which is the Great Reset, and which you are fighting back so well with the Great Resist. And some people will say, what's the importance then of standing together as one nation when we're facing the Great Reset? Well, we need a united front, and we also need to realize that individually and collectively we can all make a difference. And why do we need a united front throughout the British Isles? Well, to the extent that those who push the Great Reset want power and profit and control, they know they can get these things more easily by dividing the people up against themselves. Very often on spurious grounds, they'll try to divide people on the basis of class or race or age or sex, and even in the context of the UK, divide us country against country, Scotland against England, against Northern Ireland, against Wales. And so we want to be conscious of this divide and rule strategy, and we want to stand against it and not fall for it. So there is this importance of solidarity when fighting the Great Reset and the powers that are behind it. Now, some people might say, well, come on, Alistair, are you saying that Westminster is perfect? And oh my, it's certainly not. We know, especially at this conference, that there are great problems with Westminster at the moment and with democracy throughout the United Kingdom. Many of these problems being addressed today at the Great Resist. So when we talk about the value of the United Kingdom, we're always very conscious here at A Force for Good, not to equate the politicians at Westminster with the United Kingdom itself. Okay. If you thought the United Kingdom was the politicians that you see on the television, then we'd all be in great trouble. So it would be a big mistake to do that, to equate the politicians at Westminster with the United Kingdom, because this is what the Scottish National Party do. They'll say, oh, we don't like Rishi Sunak or we don't like Boris Johnson. So the answer is we're going to break up the United Kingdom and set the Scots against the English, against everybody else. No, that's that's not the way forward. That's not going to be better. That's going to be much worse. And especially when we consider, for example, that the SNP and all the separatist movements throughout the British Isles are all fully signed up supporters of the Great Reset. Okay, whether it's support for lockdowns or whether it's support for the big pharmaceutical corporations that seem to be taking over, whether it's support for mass medication or digital currencies or cashless societies or the sex and gender confusion that's being pushed on school children or general politically correct indoctrination in colleges or mass immigration or climate change apocalypticism, even down to supporting membership of the European Union. The SNP and Sinn Féin and Plaid Cymru, they're all grade A stamped and sealed, signed up 100% members of the Great Reset. So it's certainly not going to be better if we go down their route. And so that's two reasons to stand together. One, to not allow ourselves to be divided on the basis of Scots versus English versus Northern Irish versus Welsh, and also to realise that as bad as things at Westminster are, my goodness me, they could be a whole lot worse, especially if the forces of separatism got their way. They would make the Great Reset even greater, as it were. And they're very open about that, and they're very wrong about that. And so we have to try to persuade them that they're wrong about that, and that's part of the work that we do here. And and thirdly, we want to, I think, try to change things for the better if we can by contributing our individual and our collective energies to the fight back and to helping you with the Great Resist and helping all the other groups that are fighting back against all of these things that are being thrown upon us. And I suppose in that regard, I'd like to just end in the last 2 or 3 minutes here with a positive message about what we can do individually and collectively to try to make a difference. Now, I've said we need a united front as far as the politics of the UK is concerned, but individually and collectively, individually, we can make our effort to regain our personal sovereignty, which is to say, our authority over our own life as much as we can, to live our lives as righteously as we can, to be as conscientious about the things that we have power over, such as our home, our food and drink that we consume, the things that we buy, how we exercise, how we relax, things that we have a degree of control over, to make sure that we are conscientious about those things, because many of us are not necessarily so. So as long as we can get our own lives in order, maintain an optimistic attitude, I like to say create intellectual protection for yourselves and for your family by consuming good things, good books, intelligent articles, good websites, excellent DVDs, interesting programs on the television or on YouTube. There's still a lot of them that can be found. Feeding your mind with intellectual protection against the intellectual attacks which we're also facing every day. And I know you've got a speaker who'll be addressing the matter of demoralization as well, which, because we are under attack, and one of the ways of doing that is to demoralize us, as we've heard. So, and also don't be fearful, because the Bible has this great quote in Second Timothy. It says, "For God hath not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind." And so we're not meant to be fearful. So we need to take back our courage in that regard. and also to maintain ultimately a sense of purpose in life, to know that we're making a difference. And in that sense, there's some very small things that we can do. And when we're not all in a position to do a lot, but we can all speak well of others, speak well of people that we support, boost their morale with kind words, simply saying, I agree with that policy, or I don't think that's right, or I like what these people are doing. These just little things like that. We can say that whether it's on the internet or to our friends or in company, and it gives encouragement to that person and to that general idea as well. And as far as groups that we find that we can support, follow them on social media, share and promote their work, and where you can't do much else, help to fund them, because all of these groups also need help. So just small things like that. And also mentally, don't become one shouldn't become too cynical about national politics, because at the end of the day, many of our legislators are not beyond help. Now, some of them are, and some of them appear to have gone, as it were, over to the dark side. But there's an awful lot of people in local politics and in devolved politics and in British national politics that are simply don't really know any better. And there are some of them who will be open to change and open to seeing the kind of materials and ideas that we're promoting here with the Great Resist. And so always maintaining faith in human nature, especially the faith in our politicians. And goodness knows that can often be hard, but I know there are quite a few good ones out there as well. So that's the sort of thing that I would just like to say. And I do thank you so much for allowing me to convey that message to your audience today. Thanks, Liz.
Alistair, it's absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much for coming to us. And we look forward to, if we have another one up further north, we look forward to seeing you actually in person. Good luck later on today in Dundee. And thank
That
you very much indeed.
Well, it's been a pleasure, Liz. Have a great day and have a great conference. And folks, let's make a difference.
Very, very important that we as individuals, though, do stick together. And these four countries are really, really important. And now we have to speak on behalf of Wales, somebody who I don't think probably needs any introduction. Jason Lloyd-Davies, where are you? Get up here. A young man, I have to say, he tells me I need to put my glasses on. I thought he was about 35, but he assures me he's not. It's because he's come out of the forces that he's got this sort of young look about him. Jason, welcome. Carry on.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, friends, colleagues. A very well welcome. Croeso Mawr. So my name is Jason Lloyd-Davies, and I would firstly like to thank Liz Phillips and indeed all those who helped organise this event, the Neon, and of course all of you for coming. I'd also like to mention Mark Edwards, who is a colleague of mine, and he is also one of my fellow directors of a not-for-profit organisation that was founded back in August 2021. So we created a movement called United in Britain. No Cymru. The no is to no to independence and no to the breakup of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. We created this movement from the ground up. I myself am Welsh. My father comes from West Wales, and my mother's family comes from Perthshire in Scotland. We oppose Welsh independence and internal hard borders, which are restricting movement of goods, people and services. You should be under no illusion that that is not a threat. It was what was planned if Scotland had left the United Kingdom. They admitted that there would be border checkpoints. It is not a lie to suggest that that is what they want in Wales. We all need to realise that by not speaking out against their constant propaganda and misinformation, they would simply go unchallenged. We absolutely believe this was the case before we created United in Britain. Not surprisingly, shortly after formation in August 2021, we started getting vile Twitter messages. One of them said, "You should all get into the sea," which I laughed at the time, but it wasn't said in friendship. It came from supporters of Yes Cymru. These messages proved beyond doubt that we had already started making waves with Welsh nationalist separatists. They were angry that their hatred and division was being challenged. And then they feared that other Welsh people shared our views. We've been proved absolutely right. We were blocked on Twitter by Welsh nationalist party Plaid Cymru, and even had sarcastic reply from one of their members of the Welsh Parliament, the Senedd. That very same individual is currently suspended from the Plaid Cymru group. He's currently under investigation for other matters by the Standards Commissioner of the Welsh Parliament. We totally oppose Welsh separation, not purely on economic reasons alone, although the economics of leaving the United Kingdom would be disastrous. But we oppose Welsh independence based on an acronym that we created called SEPS, Social, Economic, Political and Security. The siren voices of separatism threaten not only our economic future, leading to large-scale job losses. Huge tax rises would almost certainly become a reality. Public services which you all rely on would suffer badly. Businesses would almost certainly relocate as a result of those tax rises, and trade between other parts of the United Kingdom would almost certainly suffer significant disruption. Hard borders could limit social mobility, with border checks on goods, services and people crossing between England and Wales. Wales may have to ditch sterling in exchange for an alternative currency, such as the euro, leading to increased borrowing costs. Independence threatens our common security across our country. This would inevitably leave Wales dangerously exposed in what we all know is an increasingly unstable world. It is not to exaggerate that foreign powers may attempt to exploit a dangerously weakened country, threatening all parts of the United Kingdom. There should be no doubt that an independent Wales poses a significant security risk to the rest of the United Kingdom. If ever Wales gained independence and separatist party Plaid Cymru gained a majority, what would be the costs to the rest of you? Would they allow ports in Wales to be used by hostile states? Is that just in the cloud? Or could it be a reality? What would they have to bargain if the economy crashed through the floor? It is no joke to say that they want rid of the Royal Navy, the Royal Air Force and the British Army in Wales. It is Armed Forces Day today in Wales, and there's events taking place along the waterfront in Newport. So what has Welsh independence got to do with globalisation, the World Economic Forum, or indeed the European Union? Well, sadly, the answer is everything. It's got everything to do with people who don't want the United Kingdom to stay as one. They are saying, there is a saying, and we all know this saying, we've grown up with it. Everybody knows that united we stand, divided we fall. And never a truer word can be said. And it's something that Sir Tom Jones mentioned in an interview. It speaks volumes of who we are as a people. So all of you here in person today, all of you watching any live stream, all of you at home, your families across the United Kingdom need to reject the nonsense perpetrated by separatists. The independence cabal would wreak havoc across the United Kingdom if the British people allowed them to carry out their fantasy dystopian wasteland economic policies. It's time to wake up, folks, smell the coffee and realise that they work hand in glove with those that do not wish our country well. Remember, together we are strong, divided we are weak and vulnerable in an increasingly unstable world. History has taught us that unity has allowed us to flourish. The bonds across this country have served us well in wartime and in peacetime. And that is why the simplistic attempts to drive a wedge between our nations must and should be rejected. The division of the independence cabal is designed to have us all squabbling over the resources we all share, to turn against each other, which in turn allows the World Economic Forum and the globalists to control and manipulate a divided people. They become much easier to control. The United Kingdom is one of the oldest democracies in the world. Let's stand firmly together in friendship and unity of purpose. We need to grow this movement and encourage you to join us. You can join us via our website, or you can get a form at the back of the hall. We are a not-for-profit organisation, and we are designed to spread positive messages. Finally, as one of the people who joined recently in Newport said, it's crucial to have a counterbalance to the rabid Welsh nationalists who want to wreck our country. And they really don't care about Wales, only their obsession with destroying the union of the United Kingdom. I urge you all to join us. We have concessionary rates starting at just £12 a year. Members receive stunning membership packs, free British-made pin badge, and are eligible to join the new Christmas prize draw, which we will be having a hamper. Directors are excluded from the prize draw. We have items on sale here today, and we want people to become engaged. We think we're a positive movement, and we were set up for all the right reasons. Finally, conference, we are united in Britain. We are no Cymru. Embrace unity, reject separatism. Thanks very much. Diolch yn fawr.
Diolch yn fawr to you too, Jason. Thank you so much. Today, earlier, we had a gentleman on from Northern Ireland. I'm sure you gathered by his accent that we started off with Peter McElvenna. Now, Peter, as you know, runs Hearts of Oak, and on a Saturday night at 8 o'clock, if you go onto the Hearts of Oak website or anywhere else, he has The Week According To. And the next speaker is sent a video in. It's somebody called David Vance. If none of you have ever caught up with Peter and David on a Saturday night, I suggest you do. It's better than Morecambe and Wise ever knew how to be. So without further ado, would you please play the video from David Vance, because he's in Northern Ireland. Many thanks.
Hello, David. Well, we've heard from Alistair McConaughey from Scotland, and we've heard from Jason Lloyd-Davies from Wales, and the bringing up the rear, and in the most wonderful way, and everybody who knows you will agree with this, is the wonderful David Vance from Northern Ireland. David, we've been talking with Alistair and with Jason about keeping Scotland and Wales in the UK and the importance of that. Do we have the same from you, Northern Ireland?
Yeah, absolutely. And what a pleasure it is to be able to speak to you. Quite clearly, Liz, unity is our strength, not diversity. Unity is our strength. And that's what globalists fear. They don't like the idea that we would have this, a homogenous United Kingdom. They don't like that. They want to break it up. They've been wanting to break it up for such a long time. And that's why I think that the best shield we have against them is a United Kingdom of Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland, and England. That's our strength. EU hate that. They've always hated that. Whilst it's difficult, and yes, there's different issues within the regions, honestly, we're always going to be better together.
I think you're absolutely right, David. And you're quite right. They tried to split us up. That was the whole idea of the EU with these assemblies, etc. And, nothing is perfect. Parliament isn't perfect for any of the 4 countries, but it's possibly the best we've got, and we can improve on it. But splitting up is hopeless.
Because if the thing is, they go for the Celtic fringe, they go for Scotland, they go for Wales, and they go for Northern Ireland, because if they can split us away, then that just leaves England. Then England's really in the crosshair. So that's why I think, whilst I'm very appreciative of my English cousins, I mean, England is the backbone of the Union. That's indisputable. But quite honestly, there are people where I live who are very, very dedicated to this United Kingdom. And I have to say, Liz, as well, if I visit local graveyard and I look at the monuments to people who gave their lives fighting for this country in 2 world wars, and think of them what you might, I mean, that is a solemn testament to how, for generations, people have thought like us. They understood that this is a country that we are proud of. I'm not proud of the people that lead it, absolute disgrace, but the country, the values, the heritage, the history, all those things mean so much. And also our individual heritage in Scotland, Wales, here in Northern Ireland and England, it's so rich and vibrant. So we shouldn't let them take that from us. We should unite and stand behind it.
Yes, you have to celebrate the difference in our heritages, because if you pop over to Scotland, you've got the kilt. You come across to Northern Ireland, you've got the giant causeway. You've got a little drop of whiskey over there too, I seem to remember.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you're not drinking it. Oh, David, you're a letdown. You go to Wales. You've got the daffodil, the leek, you've got the mountains, everything that we should be celebrating. The history of all our countries is absolutely phenomenal. And together, we just respect. I mean, when you go to a rugby match, it's all hell, especially if you're playing England. If any of the other countries playing it, it's all hell. And then you all go to the bar afterwards and drink together.
That's right.
It's a wonderful camaraderie, if you like.
Yeah, actually, Liz, that's a great example. I've been to many of the home nations international rugby games, and it's just the way you say it. It's fiercely competitive in the stadium during the match, but afterwards, people are relaxing in the bars, and we respect each other. I mean, I've been to Murrayfield to watch Scotland play, and again, brilliant sense of comradeship with our fellow Brits. You see, we are British. That's what the globalists hate. we are this thing that's bigger than each of the individual four nations, and that's why they're so hell-bent to divide us, to elevate the petty nationalists in the different countries. But ultimately, all I would say is I respect Welsh people, Scottish people, English people, and I just think that we can respect our differences, but yet be together under this umbrella of a United Kingdom, which is the very best thing that we can do. And Liz, if you want to know, are you doing the right thing? Just look at how much the European Union hates it. Look at how much general globalism hates it. Just look at that, and that tells you, yeah, if they hate it, it's probably we're doing the right thing.
Oh, David, what a lovely note to end on. Thank you so much for your insight. It's no different to any of our own, but it's so nice to see a smiling face. Although it's a really serious subject, and it's really serious that we've got to beat these people, we can do it so much better with a smile, can't we?
We can. United together, we're always stronger.
David, thank you so much. And everybody here will be so pleased to have seen you. I'm sorry about our political class abandoning Northern Ireland, which is what they've done under the Windsor Agreement. You and I have talked about this, but we'll make this all right.
Well, the final note I would add on, I do hope everyone appreciates my sartorial elegance, because you may notice I am dressed indeed in the Union colours, the red, white and the blue. So on that fashion note as well, Liz, I wish you and everyone all the very best, and thank you so much for having this chance to chat to yourself and to the people watching this. Thank you.